What if every wrinkle on your face was not a mark of time stolen, but a map of a mountain you've already climbed? What if the slowing of your steps and the quietness of your house were not signs of a life fading away, but the necessary silence required to finally hear the song of your own soul? Imagine for a moment that every heartbreak you endured in your youth, every career delay that felt like a failure, and every physical ache you feel this morning was never truly random. What if the universe wasn't punishing you with the weight of years, but was instead polishing you, layer by layer, until the diamond of your true nature could finally shine through the cracks? You know what truly drains most people as they cross into the golden seasons of 60, 70, or 80. It's not the passage of time itself. It's not even the loss of health or the change in their roles. It is the invisible, constant pressure to control everything. It is the heavy backpack of what-ifs and if-onlys that we carry into our sleep and haul back out of bed every morning. We wake up and immediately start loading our minds with expectations, worries about our children, anxiety over our health, and leftover regrets from a yesterday that no longer exists. Before your feet even touch the floor, your mind has already built a prison of scenarios that haven't happened and likely never will. But there is a strange law of life that no one teaches you when you are young and rushing toward the horizon. The moment you stop trying so hard to force life into a shape you desire, everything begins to fall into place. It sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? We are taught that to win, we must fight; to keep, we must grip. Yet the wisdom of the ages whispers that the tighter you squeeze a handful of sand, the faster it slips through your fingers. But if you open your palm, if you simply let the sand rest there, it remains. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you are 80 years old, sitting on a porch as the sun begins to set. But instead of the usual worry about your joints or your legacy, you feel a lightness in your chest that you haven't felt since you were a child. Imagine feeling completely whole, not because your life was perfect, but because you finally realized that you don't have to fight the current anymore. Did you know that your mind has the incredible capability to heal your body, even from years of chronic stress and pain, the very second you decide to stop waging an inner war against reality? Suffering is not what happens to you. It is your resistance to what happens. When you finally surrender, not in defeat, but in mastery, the body stops fighting and starts listening. That is the moment the healing begins. In this session, we are going to walk together through a series of profound Buddhist insights designed specifically for this sacred chapter of your life. We are going to explore how to transition from a life of doing to a life of being. I promise you that by the end of this audio, you will see your aging not as a decline, but as a spiritual ripening. You will learn how to turn your worries into wisdom and your isolation into a beautiful, healing solitude. This isn't just about information. It's about a radical shift in how you breathe, how you think, and how you exist in this world. If you are someone who is searching for that deep, unshakable peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away, I invite you to join our community. This channel is a sanctuary, a quiet doorway back to yourself. If you feel a resonance with these words, consider subscribing and walking this path with us. Here, we remember that nothing is a coincidence. Your presence here is a sign that your soul is ready to let go of the heavy load. Stay with me until the very end, because I have prepared a powerful bonus lesson, a secret of the heart that is often only revealed to those who have lived long enough to appreciate its depth. This final insight is the key that can turn the fear of the unknown into the freedom of the eternal. It is the return to the source that changes everything. You have traveled a long way and you are tired of carrying the world on your shoulders. It is time to put the backpack down. It is time to let the river carry you. You are not broken, you are not late, and you are certainly not alone. Your peace is not somewhere out there in a future that hasn't arrived. It is right here, hidden beneath the noise, waiting for you to simply be still. Let's begin. Lesson 1. The Wisdom of the Autumn Tree. My dear friend, do you find yourself waking up with a heavy heart, worrying about the leaves you have lost? Do you worry that your best years are behind you, or that you are losing your grip on the people and roles that once defined you? As the Buddha taught, you only lose what you cling to. Suffering does not come from the change itself, but from the refusal to let the change happen. Look at the autumn tree. When the winds turn cold, the tree doesn't fight to keep its leaves. It doesn't cry or feel like it is failing because it is becoming bare. It lets the leaves fall because it trusts the cycle. It knows that by letting go, it is saving its energy for its deepest roots. The tree is not dying, it is returning to its essence. I remember a time when I was terrified of losing my status, my useful role in the world. I felt that if I wasn't doing something, I was nothing. I clung to my titles until my hands bled. It was only when I finally let go, when I became useless in the eyes of the world, that I discovered the diamond-like strength of my own being, which had nothing to do with my work. Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath. Imagine you are that autumn tree. Feel the heavy leaves of your worries. The worries about your kids, your legacy, your health. As you exhale, imagine them simply detaching and floating to the ground. They are not you. Notice how much lighter your branches feel now. Ask yourself gently, what am I still trying to hold on to that the universe has already asked me to release? Letting go is not a loss. It is a liberation of energy. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I trust my cycle." Lesson 2. The medicine of the stilled lake. Do you feel like your mind is a constant storm of noise? Is there a voice in your head that never stops analyzing the past or forecasting a terrifying future? A Zen master once said, "Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone." Think of a stilled lake. When the wind blows, the surface is choppy and you cannot see the bottom. If you try to clear the water by stirring it with your hands, you only make it muddier. But if you step back and let the wind die down, the sediment settles on its own. The lake becomes a perfect mirror, reflecting the sky. I once spent months trying to think my way out of anxiety. I read every book, attended every seminar, and talked to everyone. I was stirring the lake. It was only when I sat in total silence, doing absolutely nothing for 10 minutes a day, that the answers I was looking for finally rose to the surface. Close your eyes. Imagine your mind is that lake. Don't try to stop the thoughts. That's just more stirring. Simply sit on the shore of your awareness and watch the ripples. Notice how, as you stop interfering, the water naturally begins to settle. Feel the clarity returning to your vision. Ask yourself gently, am I solving my problems, or am I just stirring the mud? Silence is the highest form of medicine for a weary soul. Subscribe for more quiet teachings of the heart. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I am the stilled lake." Lesson 3. The Diamond Shortcut. Do you look at your physical aches or your past regrets as poison that ruins your peace? Do you feel that you can only be happy if these things disappear? The Vajrayana masters teach, the very poison that makes you sick is the nectar that will set you free. Consider the lotus in the mud. The lotus does not grow in clear, sterile water. It needs the thick, smelly, dark mud to bloom. The mud is not an obstacle. It is the nutrient. Without the mud, there is no beauty. In my own life, I once viewed a deep period of physical illness as a waste of time. I hated my body for failing me. But it was that very poison of pain that forced me to stop running and finally learn how to breathe. My illness became my greatest teacher, the nectar that woke me up. Close your eyes. Focus on a part of your life that feels like poison, maybe a physical pain or a deep regret. Instead of pushing it away, imagine breathing into it. Imagine that this pain is a dark cloud that, when you touch it with your breath, turns into a golden light. You are not fixing the pain. You are using its energy to wake up. Ask yourself gently, what if this challenge isn't in the way, but is the way? Your struggles are not mistakes. They are the fuel for your transformation. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I bloom from the mud." Lesson 4. The River and the Stone. My dear elders, have you ever felt that you are constantly fighting against the circumstances of your life? Perhaps you are trying to change a family member who won't listen, or you are struggling to accept the changes in your physical strength. Do you feel that if you just pushed harder, you could finally fix everything? The Buddha taught, "He who does not hit back at one who hits, who is patient with the impatient, and who is peaceful among the aggressive, him I call a holy man." This is the essence of Wu Wei, or effortless action, the wisdom of not fighting the inevitable. Consider the river and the stone. When a river encounters a massive, unmoving stone in its path, it doesn't stop to argue with the stone. It doesn't waste its energy trying to push the stone out of the way. Instead, the river simply flows around it. Over time, through the gentle power of non-resistance, the water actually smooths the rough edges of the stone. The river reaches the ocean not by force, but by being flexible. I remember a time in my own life when I was desperately trying to control the decisions of someone I loved. I spent sleepless nights rehearsing arguments, convinced that my control was the only thing keeping them safe. I was the water crashing against the stone, and I was the one becoming exhausted and broken. It was only when I decided to flow around the situation, to offer love without the demand for control, that peace returned to both of us. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep, soft breath. Imagine yourself as a clear, cool river. Now, visualize the problem that is currently causing you stress as a large stone in your middle. Instead of pushing against it, feel yourself becoming soft and liquid. Imagine your consciousness flowing effortlessly to the left and right of this problem. Notice how the stone remains, but it no longer stops your journey. You are free to move forward. Ask yourself gently, am I exhausting myself trying to move a stone that the universe has placed there for me to simply flow around? Non-resistance is not weakness, it is the ultimate mastery of energy. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I flow like the river." Lesson 5. The Butterfly on the Palm. Do you find yourself constantly chasing after a specific feeling of happiness or a specific outcome? Maybe you are waiting for a certain thank you from a child, or waiting for a health report to be perfect before you allow yourself to smile. Does it feel like the harder you chase peace, the further it runs away? Ancient wisdom tells us, what is meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant for you. Think of the butterfly on the palm. If you see a beautiful butterfly and you run after it with a net, it will fly higher and faster. You will end up tired and empty-handed. But if you walk into a garden and sit very still, if you become a part of the stillness, the butterfly may eventually come and land right on your open palm. Happiness is not a prize to be caught, it is a guest that visits the quiet. I once clung to the idea that I would only be successful if I reached a certain milestone by a certain age. I chased that goal with such aggression that I missed the childhood of my children and the beauty of my own health. When I finally stopped chasing and started receiving the life I already had, I discovered that the joy I was looking for had been sitting in my garden all along, waiting for me to be still. Close your eyes. Open your hands and let them rest on your knees, palms facing upward. Take a slow breath. Imagine that everything you are chasing, peace, health, love, is a butterfly in the air. Now mentally stop running. Just sit. Feel the air on your skin. Imagine that butterfly gently landing on your hand because you are finally still enough to hold it. Feel the weightless grace of that moment. Ask yourself gently, what would happen if I stopped running today and simply trusted that what is mine is already finding its way to me? Alignment is more powerful than effort. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. Subscribe for more quiet teachings of the heart. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I am ready to receive." Lesson 6. The bamboo in the storm. As the years pass, do you sometimes feel fragile? When life throws an unexpected challenge your way, a loss, a health scare, or a sudden change, do you feel like you are going to break under the pressure? Do you feel that you must be rigid and hard to survive? The Buddha said, "The tongue which is yielding endures. The teeth which are rigid fall out." Consider the bamboo tree. When a great storm comes, the mighty oak tree stands rigid and resists the wind. It tries to prove its strength by not moving, but eventually the wind becomes too strong and the oak snaps. The bamboo, however, is hollow and flexible. When the wind blows, the bamboo bows. It bends all the way to the ground if it must. And when the storm passes, the bamboo stands tall again, unbroken. I remember a time when I faced a deep personal loss. My first instinct was to be strong, like an oak, to not cry, to not show pain, to stay rigid. But that rigidity was killing me from the trong. I was on the verge of breaking. It was only when I allowed myself to bend, to accept my sadness, to be vulnerable, and to move with the pain, that I realized my true strength. I didn't break because I stopped resisting the wind. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath into your belly. Imagine your spine is as flexible as a stalk of bamboo. Now, think of the biggest stressor in your life right now as a strong wind. Instead of tensing your muscles to resist it, imagine yourself swaying gently with it. Say to yourself, "I can bend, but I cannot be broken." Feel the strength that comes from being soft. Ask yourself gently, in what area of my life am I being too rigid? What would happen if I chose to bend instead of break? True power is found in the ability to yield. The one who bends with life is the one who remains standing. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I am flexible and strong." Lesson 7. The bird freed from the cage. Do you ever feel caged by your past mistakes or the opinions of other people? At this stage of life, do you look back and feel heavy with the should-haves or the judgment of others? Do you feel that your value is tied to what you can do for your family rather than who you are? Buddha taught, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Imagine a bird freed from a cage. For years, the bird believed the bars were the only reality. It forgot how to fly because it was told its only purpose was to stay inside and sing for others. But one day, the door is left open. The bird realizes that the cage was never its home, the sky was. Your identity is not the cage of your roles or your past. Your identity is the vast, open sky of awareness. I once clung to my identity as a provider so tightly that when I retired, I felt like a bird who had lost its cage. I felt useless and invisible. I was waiting for others to tell me I was still valuable. It took a long time to realize that my value didn't come from the cage of my work. It came from the fact that I existed. I was the sky all along, not the bars of the cage. Close your eyes. Take a deep, liberating breath. Visualize a cage around your heart. Each bar of the cage represents a worry about what others think of you or a regret from your past. Now imagine those bars simply dissolving into light. There is no door to open. The bars are gone. Feel the immense space around you. Imagine spreading your wings into that space. You are free to just be. Ask yourself gently, whose approval am I still waiting for? And what if I decided today that my own approval is the only one I need? You are not what you do. You are the vast, silent presence that observes it all. Subscribe for more quiet teachings of the heart. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I am free." Lesson 8. The moon in the water. Does your life sometimes feel chaotic and confusing? Do you feel like you are losing yourself in the middle of all the health appointments, family drama, and the noise of the world? Do you feel that you have lost your inner clarity? As the sages say, When the mind is silent, the whole universe surrenders. Think of the moon in the water. On a night when the lake is calm, the moon reflects perfectly on the surface. You can see every detail of its light. But if someone throws a handful of pebbles into the water, the reflection of the moon is broken into 1,000 jagged pieces. The moon hasn't changed. It is still whole and bright in the sky. It is only the surface of the water that is disturbed. Your true peace is like the moon. It is always there, even when the water of your life is full of ripples. I remember a period of my life where everything seemed to be going wrong at once. I felt broken into 1,000 pieces. I kept trying to fix the water by talking and worrying, but I only created more ripples. It was only when I sat in 10 minutes of meditation, simply observing the ripples without judging them, that the water became still. And there, in the stillness, I saw that I was still whole. I hadn't lost myself. I had just lost my reflection. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Imagine a beautiful full moon shining inside your chest. Now imagine the surface of a lake. Notice the ripples of your thoughts. I'm tired. I'm worried about my health. What will happen tomorrow? See these as small pebbles touching the water. Don't try to stop them. Just wait. Watch the water settle. See the moon becoming clear and whole again. You are that wholeness. Ask yourself gently, am I the jagged reflection on the surface, or am I the silent, whole moon in the sky? Peace is not the absence of ripples. It is the realization that the ripples cannot touch the moon. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, I am whole. Bonus lesson. The Great Dissolution. Now, as I promised at the beginning of our journey, I want to share with you the deepest and perhaps most unexpected insight of all. We call this the Great Dissolution. Most of our lives, we have been terrified of the idea of things ending. We fear the end of our youth, the end of our strength, and eventually, the end of our story. But the sages of the Diamond Path share a secret that changes everything. Ending is not disappearing. Ending is expanding. Think of a single drop of water that has spent its whole life traveling down a long, winding, and often difficult river. That drop has seen rocks, storms, and narrow passages. It has clung to its identity as a drop, because that is all it knows. But eventually, the river meets the vast, infinite ocean. In that moment, the drop dies as a drop, but it wakes up as the entire ocean. My dear friends, your life is that river. The aging process is simply the river widening as it nears the sea. You are not losing yourself. You are preparing to become everything. When you stop worrying about the drop of your ego, you finally realize that the peace you've been seeking was never something to be gained. It was your original nature all along. You aren't falling away from life. You are finally falling into it. Take one last breath with me. Feel that you are not a body having a spiritual experience, but a vast, eternal spirit having a brief, beautiful human experience. The cage is open. The river has met the sea. You are home. You are not broken by the years. You are seasoned by them. You are not becoming less. You are becoming more real. You are not invisible. You are the silent light that illuminates the lives of everyone around you. The day you stop trying to be who you were is the day you finally discover the magnificent being you are. Thank you for walking this path of silence and wisdom with us today. Here at the Buddha Wisdom Library, we remember that nothing is a coincidence. This is not just a video. It is a doorway back to yourself. Until we meet again, walk gently, trust the flow, and stay peaceful. Namaste.